Hello, this is Dominica with Easynomics, and we're going to do a paper 3 practice on calculating unemployment from a set of data. This video is part of a playlist that's focused on unemployment in both the micro and macroeconomic level. There's a running series here, part 1, part 2, part 3. So it's part of this series discussing unemployment, the labor force, the aggregate supply of labor, the aggregate demand for labor, the natural rate of unemployment, and so on. On the channel, there's also a separate playlist just focused on paper 3 calculations. So let's take a look at this question. On an exam, could be paper 3, perhaps on a paper 2, you might be asked to calculate the rate of unemployment for a particular country. And so here we have data for the labor market for the country of Chile in South America in the year 2019. So this is a year prior to COVID. So this is a good data point that's not impacted by a significant outlier event like the COVID pandemic. On an exam, they may give you the population of the country. Here, they'll give you the number of people that are employed and the number of people that are unemployed. Using the information provided in Table 1, calculate the rate of unemployment for Chile in 2019. So you can pause the video and calculate this and see if your workings corresponds with mine. So go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, so now that you've unpaused, let's take a look at your work. One unfortunate mistake that students make, let's see if I can get a good color here, is they assume that the total population is the labor force, which is incorrect. We want to remember that the labor force is a simple formula. The labor force is equal to the quantity of employed labor plus the quantity of unemployed labor. So we want to add those two values up, and then we'll have our total labor force. So here we have the quantity of our employed labor, and here we have the quantity of our unemployed labor. So the quantity of employed labor is equal to 8,500,035 and 911. So 8,535,911 people are employed, and we're going to add that to this equivalent value of, not equivalent, of the unemployed rate being 672,192. Okay, so we're going to add these two together. So the quantity of our unemployed is 672,192, and here we have the employed. So we add that up, and then we get our labor force. And our labor force is equal to 9,208,103. So this is our labor force. Okay, so now it's pretty easy. What we're going to do is take our unemployed divided by our labor force, and that will give us the unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate is calculated to the quantity of unemployed divided by the labor force multiplied by 100. Okay, so we can go ahead and calculate that. Our quantity of unemployed here, so here we're going to calculate the unemployment rate. Is equal to 672,192 divided by our labor force, which is right over here, of 9,208,103. And then we're going to multiply that value by 100 So we get it as a percentage. And if you do that, 672,192 divided by 9,208,103 and multiply by 100, that's going to give you 7.3. So the unemployment rate in 2019 for Chile is 7.3%. And then you've calculated this and done this question. So calculate the rate of unemployment for Chile in 2019. It's 7.3% in 2019 for this country of Chile. Okay. A common mistake that students do, an error, right? A common mistake that you should not do. Common mistake is this. Students take the unemployed value, 672,192, and then they divide it by the total population. All right, that is incorrect. We're taking our unemployed divided by our labor force, not the total population. So make a note to not do that. They'll throw in this population data point to confuse you because a lot of students will do that. They'll take unemployed divided by population and then they'll get the wrong answer. Okay, so just make a note to not do that. And here you just had a quick little practice on this type of question. I'll try to create more questions like this so you can practice at home and test yourself. And that's basically it. Where did I get this data from? You can find this type of data from the World Bank. Here we have the population of Chile. And in 2019, we can see it was 19,039,485. With the World Bank, we also have labor force data. Here, the labor force was 9,208,103. This is prior to the impact of COVID. So you can see that the labor force is increasing over time, and then COVID, it drops. And then here we have unemployment provided by the World Bank over time, this fluctuation. And prior to COVID, it was 7.3%. So I use that data just to create this question. If you have any questions, feel free to comment those questions below. And don't forget to subscribe and like. And thank you so much.